Okay, let's look at some cases. Okay, we shall have some case studies. The first case is the case of Serious Fraud Office, SFO, against Airbus SE. Airbus relies on business partners, i.e. third parties such as intermediaries, agents and consultants to win sales contracts in various countries. These PPs would receive commission based on a percentage value of the sale or a fixed amount per aircraft sold. Airbus was indicted under Section 7 of the Bribery Act 2010, United Kingdom, for failing to prevent persons associated with it from bribing others concerned with the purchase of aircraft. Where the said bribery was intended to obtain or retain business or advantage in the conduct of business for Airbus in 5 different jurisdictions, which includes Malaysia. Now, according to the charge preferred, the business partners allegedly paid $50 million to airlines directors by way of sponsoring directors of Formula One team, which is legally not related to the airline's company, to secure aircraft sales. Airbus had in fact established the necessary anti-corruption policies and selection committees in relation to the appointments of PPs. However, the wrongdoing involved very senior employees, including employees with compliance responsibilities. Now, parties reached a deferred prosecution agreement in the interests of justice on 31st January 2020. Airbus were ordered to pay euro 990 million, which is made up of 2 portions: disgorgement of profit, 5 million euro, and a penalty of approximately 398 million euro. The total sum paid globally exceeded euro 3.5 billion for investigations by authorities in France and USA. SFO was still considering whether to prosecute individuals involved in the bribery. So basically, if you look at this next slide, this is basically what happened to Airbus. SFO actually agreed to resolve the matter with Airbus, provided the fine has been paid, and Airbus actually did that. Now, the lessons to be learned from Airbus case is as follows. Lack of top-level commitment and compliance culture is fatal. Having a robust policy on anti-corruption and anti-bribery on paper without proper enforcement is inadequate. Consultants, brokers, and agents could be the weakest link in the fight against corruption. A number of charges against Airbus were related to commissions paid to third parties, such as consultant or agent, who were linked directly or indirectly to the executives of Airbus, customers, or their family members. Adequate procedures were undertaken by Airbus as part of its reform. Airbus commissioned an independent compliance review panel to complete an independent review of Airbus ethics and compliance procedures. It launched a company-wide, systematic, comprehensive anti-bribery and corruption risk assessment, or employees identified in high and medium risk exposed positions underwent anti-corruption training. Significantly reduced the use of external consultants across Airbus group of companies, and has stopped the use of consultants in relation to sales of aircraft. Steps were taken to remove all wrongdoers from employment with Airbus. Okay, the following cases are based on UK case laws. First case is Group Plc. The company was convicted for the act of its subsidiary in making corrupt payments to secure the award of a contract. The subsidiary was a separate entity, but was effectively operated by its holding company, Group Plc. As a department or division, it was found that there were inadequate procedures in place to prevent the corrupt acts. The case of Skansen Interior Limited, whereby the company is a refurbishment company, was charged under the UK Bribery Act. Skansen Interior relied on the defense of adequate procedures. The company relied on the company's relatively small business and limited geographical reach to argue that the company did not need sophisticated procedures in place. Further, the company tried to rely on broadly worded company policies on ethical conduct, but it had no specific anti-bribery policies. The defense did not succeed and the company was convicted. Okay, in Sweet's case, it was the first company to be convicted under Section 7 of the UK Bribery Act 2010. Following an investigation by the SFO, CSIL was found to have made corrupt payments to a company in Abu Dhabi to secure a contract for the building of a particular hotel. Now, CSIL was actually a subsidiary of this Group Plc. The case demonstrated the expensive extraterritorial effect of the Bribery Act. Corporations should exercise strong oversight over their global operations. Now, Sweet conducted an internal investigation following certain media allegations in which it found and reported to the Serious Fraud Office in respect of 2 suspicious contracts. As a result, SFO conducted its own investigation in July 2014. The investigation found that CSIL had made corrupt payments to AAAI to secure and to retain the shipbuilding contract. The bribery was intended to obtain or retain business and or an advantage in the conduct of business, thus reflecting the wording of the UK's Bribery Act. The risk factors allowing the bribery to occur in Sweet's case are as follows: relaxed corporate control and decentralized operations, inadequate internal systems to deal with a global business with widespread operations, no transparent process for procuring contracts, red flags in transactions were not efficiently responded to, inadequate audit trail of money flows. Example, bribery payments were undocumented or wrongfully recorded as consulting fees. Personnel involved in procurement were not properly monitored or managed for competence and or integrity. The legal consequences in respect of Sweet's case are as follows. Sweet Group Plc could not adequately defend the prosecution's claim that the company had not put in place adequate procedures designed to prevent associated persons from undertaking corrupt activities. The company pleaded guilty in December 2015 to a charge of failing to prevent an act of bribery intended to secure and retain a contract within the meaning of the Act. Sweet Group Plc was sentenced and ordered to pay $2.25 million, comprising of fines and confiscation. The SFO was awarded costs of approximately $95,000 for the case. Sweet's culpability may have been reduced by the following corrective measures that it had taken: cooperating with SFO investigation, appointing independent consultants to provide an independent review of the anti-bribery and corruption policies, establishment of a dedicated governance team to oversee the group's governance procedures and ensure compliance with relevant anti-corruption legislation, continuous review and improvement of the safe governance program. Now, the key takeaways are: ensure employees and those acting on behalf of the company are trained, aware of the company's anti-corruption and anti-bribery statement, policies, code of conduct, and business ethics. Communicate anti-bribery policy in public documents, example tenders. Provide for contractual safeguards regarding unlawful activity or other bribery prevention measures of counterparties or employees. Implement an effective training and communication program of all of the above globally. Implement appropriate financial and non-financial limits, example, authorizing payments and or due diligence of business partners. In respect of Skansen Interiors Limited, now the company was charged for failure to prevent bribery in 2018. The company was fairly small, comprising of 30 employees only. Its former FD allegedly made improper payments to secure contracts for the company. Skansen fired the wrongdoer and self-reported to the authorities, cooperated fully with the SFO's investigation. Skansen argued that its procedures were adequate for a company of its size and nature. However, the jury disagreed and found Skansen to be guilty. Now, the judge did not impose any penalties on the company, giving the company an absolute discharge. Therefore, the conviction will not be registered on its record. As it was a jury trial, there was no judgment or judicial comment on what might constitute adequate procedures. However, the following points were made by the prosecution. Skansen was criticized for not designating anyone with responsibility for compliance matters. Skansen had policies in place which emphasized the need to deal with third parties in an etiquette, open and honest manner, and had some financial controls and payment approval procedures. However, it failed to document steps taken to embed a culture of compliance and to alert staff of the existence of these policies. Therefore, they were unable to demonstrate that steps had been taken to comply and steps were adequate. Skansen's failure to monitor and review its policies meant that it would not show what steps it had taken when the UK Bribery Act came into force. Skansen could have used the coming into force of the Act as an opportunity to remind staff of the company's ethical policy and expectations, but it had failed to demonstrate that it had done so. So this is the end of my seminar. If you do have any questions, please feel free to raise them, and we will try our best to answer them accordingly and render advice where we can. You may refer to the Vijaya website for the trust policy and also the whistleblower policy that we have in place in Vijaya. So that'll be all for now. Thank you very much.